about to, and I think we're live, Christy. So go ahead and begin, and let's see if we can get the streaming to work.
Did they get to see the first part, or should we say welcome?
Yeah, you'll want to start over probably.
Well, welcome everybody. This is so exciting. Take number 2 for live Zoom Millionaire Within Her webcast. Oh my gosh, our first official one. And it's a really, really, really special event because normally we have one guest. But today, as you can see, I have 2 beautiful ladies, beautiful experts from the series, and 2 of our fans. It's recording in progress. Awesome. So guess what, everybody? Hi, welcome to the Millionaire Within Her live webcast. Today, as you can see, we normally have one special guest, but today we have 2 of our fan favorites. It's so good to see you both here. As you all know, the very famous Gina DeVee and Danelle Delgado. And thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Oh, Christy, thank you for having us. And hi, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this series. I can't wait to see what some of your questions and comments are and hope that it was a real inspiration to you.
Hello, crew. Let's have some fun tonight. The gang's back together again.
Oh, and the other secret behind the scenes is that you 2 have an incredible connection. You're sort of besties, and you share a lot, you mastermind a lot, and that just warms my heart that we have you both on tonight to help everyone who has questions. So write in, and these women are here to help you. As you both know, there's been so much outpouring of love from this series. Every day I get messages that put me in tears, and both of you support and coach women, so you know your audiences. You I'm sure get this so much. But it's been like life-changing for women to reach out and saying, thank you for watching Gina's story, watching Danelle's story. They taught me so much. This entire series has been just a gift to all of us. So thank you both. And I want to kind of start off and say, how's it been for you? And what were your biggest takeaways? And what were your favorite parts?
Such great questions. Let's see. Shall we? I think it's a great question for everyone to think about for themselves. How about if we kind of start with like an anchoring in, grounding kind of vision? Shall we do that? And then everyone can get that as well. So this is a very special moment because it's the present moment. And it's all any of us have. So if you want to really gift yourself this moment, let's all just narrow the focus, pay attention to our breathing, and just know how important you are and how loved you are and how needed you are. And I know that you give so much to so many all the time. Let this next hour time that we have together be a time for you to receive. So if you just want to either close your eyes or have a couple of deep breaths and just kind of anchor in, what's one thing that you would love to receive during our time here together? Is it clarity? Is it a breakthrough? Is it inspiration? A piece of information that's going to make a difference to you? Just stop for a moment and open yourself up to receiving exactly the next piece for you. And so it is. And so it is.
Oh, so beautiful.
So I would say the favorite part of this whole experience for me was the connection and the collaboration. You know, to be part of the Millionaire Within Her series was such an example of feminine leadership from you, Christy, and from the entire production team. That, you know, the masculine way of doing things, which is beautiful, is and powerful. It's all about the I. but the feminine perspective is all about the we. So being in connection and community and getting introduced to, incredible women who are doing amazing things in the world, and being able for, part of it being in the same room with people and others just being in the same community, I think was one of the most special pieces for me.
Oh, thank you for sharing, and thank you for grounding us in and connecting us. Like, I feel like we're all connected now, everyone watching and both of you here. So thank you. Danelle, what do you think?
Well, I mean, anytime we've heard it talked about for years and years, right? That the future and so many things that are going to come into play if there ever is a collective gathering of powerful women. And it's been talked about through years of history. It's been foreshadowed in the Bible. There's so many different places that it talks about the mighty power that will happen when the right women come together. And I think one of the greatest things is that we were all introduced to hidden treasures. We were all introduced to people that you never would have found if it weren't for this series, that their stories unlocked a little piece of ourselves, and that everybody's bravery being shared actually just creates more courage in others. And so as I looked at it, I don't get nervous very often anymore, but I remember sitting in that chair filming and going, I don't even remember what I said. Like, I hope it makes a difference, And I think there's no difference than any other day when I was building my business or my life. I was nervous then too. And I didn't know if it would make a difference. And there's all these treasures who came together who said, I didn't know how it was going to matter. I didn't know how it was going to come together. I had no idea I'd be doing things like this. I had no idea we were going to do this. And you doing the work and saying, hey, I want to bring a collective group together, and watching women go, you know who you need? This human. You know who else would inspire? This human. And it was like this chain of goodness that came together, that there's no life that watched this whole series that hasn't been fully enriched, and their bravery's been built, their fight, they remembered a piece of who they are from someone else's story, and they said, hey, I'm no different than them. I'm maybe just a year behind. I'm maybe just 2 years behind. And that's what I prayed for a decade ago when I began, was something like this. And to be a part of it, I just want to tell everybody, you might be a year, you might be a decade like I was, but listen to the messages. And if it stirred your heart, it's meant to also be you for the next generation and the next generation. But there's just treasures all over the world we never knew. And you introduced us to them. Even all of us who, some of us know each other, right? There are people in this, I'm like, how did I not know them? What happened? What a treasure. I want to go and see and find. So that's what my favorite part was, all of the gifts, that we received.
You're speaking to what we created together. And before each interview, we all said a little intention prayer that whoever needs to hear this message, whoever needs to be involved and come and be inspired by us and hear our hearts and hear how, yes, you were afraid, you were scared, you were lost, and yet you took a step forward and you had people giving you advice. And so for us all to come together, and as you both know, we as a community are craving connection. Women want to join together to get support. And that's what the series is for, to show you that we are all here together. We're holding you high. We believe in you. And everybody starts somewhere. I got messages from women at home with little kids to women in their 60s and 70s who are starting again and inspired by what was said. And I see questions coming in, but it gives me chills to know that even energetically, we're like all connected and we're feeling this pull towards more, towards giving, towards serving, towards creating a life, like Gina, you said, that we get to receive too. It's you give and you receive. And that's why women, and when we first started, Kat, we talked about the Dalai Lama, and there's this quote that he says, Western women are being called to change the world. And he believes Western women will change the world. So from all, like you said, all sources, it's this calling we're all feeling, and it's time. So are you guys ready for some questions?
Ooh, my favorite part, for sure.
Yes, and everyone type in, these women are generous. And before we do, Danielle, we're on a text, and she said, let's get ready to serve and give. And these two women, just, that's what they do. They teach and they serve from their hearts. So ask away, and we're here to help. And join the community. We're so excited. First question, what advice do you have for a woman with dreams and ambitions who has a husband who doesn't support her?
Well,
think about
Janelle,
that.
you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. Being that I'm the one without a husband, but also,
Me too.
but sometimes that's my greatest gift. Sometimes I have some of the greatest insight because of what I lost for those people who are trying to build. And so here's what I'll tell you. Wanting to change someone never grew me into a better human, right? Trying to fix someone never did anything. I think there are so many humans out there who are wishing someone would be on their side, who would be pulling for them. And I have two things, okay? Number one, the only thing that changes people, from what I have learned and studied about the mind, is habit over time or massive emotional trauma. This is how you create change. So change is created when one chooses or when one has to, right? But the first part of change has to be done within yourself, right? What would happen if you could imagine growing yourself into this human every single day who was grateful, who poured into themselves, who studied and filled their brain with positivity, who learned and grew and became a changed human, who became the one their results required? There is no way it would leave another unaffected, that they wouldn't wonder what was going on. I believe it starts with gratitude. It's the most natural way to train your brain without knowing that you are. It works while you're asleep on your subconscious that is doubtful and focused on the frustrating human who's bringing you down, and right, all of those things that it will focus on if you don't tell it what to do. So first you have to focus on daily growing you. Right? I would take gratitude and I would write 10 things every single day that you are grateful for your spouse about. I would like you to learn how to love them differently and pour into them differently. Now, I don't know who this human is. Maybe he's a great human. It sounds like, for how you asked the question, that you would love it to work rather than not wanting it to work. So I would tell you that gratitude is a key to unlock more of you. When I was in the middle of a divorce, I did this book called The Love Dare, and it's a 40-day dare to learn how to love your spouse. And at the end of it, the book, it wasn't at all about what I was doing for him. It was becoming the person who could love unconditionally. And it was the greatest gift I ever gave myself. And at the end, I knew what was going down and what was going to happen. And it's allowed me to love him as a divorced human and do anything he needs on the other side as well. That's the kind of human I wanted to be. So I'm going to tell you, right? Choice every single day, or the frustration and the pain and the hurt continues until it becomes massive trauma and it's a forced change. And I would encourage everyone to choose change before they have to. I was always like the hit me with the frying pan human. God just had to like remind me with like neon signs and hard things for me to get a message. But I would tell you, if you can love someone into growth faster than you could be frustrated to change someone into doing something different. So that's I know that's easy to say when I'm not in your exact situation, but I have been, and I've worked with a lot of humans through that. And I just, believe the Beatles had it right, that love is all you need. And if we could lead with that, but that's an active love, an act of gratitude, like fierce grace and forgiveness and love and joy will move more mountains than any thorn in your side or frustration ever will. And when you become that human who could love anyone no matter what they do, you might be surprised what mountains they would move for you. The other thing is just results. I think we promise a lot of things And sometimes we don't deliver on them. So they wonder when we're going to make a change and turn things around. Like, I promise I'm getting there. Just let me work more. And I promise. And sometimes spouses get frustrated with that. And so maybe you need to ask for different promises. Hey, I just need you to love me in this. I need you to love me. It might happen a month from now. It might happen 2 years from now, but could you love me through this? And stop asking for, different belief, right? What could we do to make this work while we're doing it? I think there's always different solutions. I talked a lot, but I just want you to know.
There's a reason you're my bestie. There's a reason you're my bestie.
There's a reason you're both here. Yes. And we have lots of questions. And so Gina, you can choose whether you want to comment on that beautiful.
Yes, I'm going to jump in. I mean, Danelle covered it so beautifully. I have a perspective that is in tangent with what Danelle shared.
Everyone needs to listen because she has the greatest marriage, and it's the most beautiful thing to watch and for me to be around, and it's changed how my soul feels. Okay.
Oh my God, okay. So, in a couple of decades of working with women, I used to, and obviously I'm so grateful that you've asked the question, and I don't know your exact circumstances. So with what I know, there isn't a man in the world that can say no to a woman who's made up her mind. and I work with women, so I'm going to tell you, and I'm like, I hope I have your permission just to be really real with you. I've seen so many women say, my husband's not supportive, or I can't, and my husband won't let me. Like this is an actual fact. And what I've typically uncovered is the woman herself is not confident enough. So what happens is, if you're with a good man, if you're with a man who's in his empowered masculine, you go to him with your fear. The empowered masculine is wired to protect. So if you're like, if he senses instinctually that you're afraid to start this business, spend this money, invest this money, whatever it is, and you're going like, is it okay if I take this course? And he's like, no, I'm not supportive of that. What he's actually doing is being a really good protector because he's sensing your fear. And then women, oftentimes, I'm not saying that this is your circumstance because I don't know, women will use their man as the excuse, he won't let me, rather than owning for yourself. So I always say, never make your man your journal. You got to journal that stuff down. Don't go and process with your man. And when you're clear and you are doing something, no matter what, not because you don't value being in unison with your partner, but because you as a woman have taken personal responsibility in such a fierce way that you're like, I'm going to take a risk on me. I'm going to show up for my dreams. I'm going to try this out. There isn't a man in the world, when you approach him like saying, honey, you make the biggest difference in my life, and it would mean everything to me if you would support me in this endeavor. I know you've supported me 100 other times, and I tried this and it did whatever, but once you're clear, there's not a man in the world that he might say, you know what, it's not what I agree with, but you do what you got to do. And you will at least be in unison. Just don't let anyone be your excuse. Give yourself the permission to go for your dreams.
Both incredible answers. And we could talk for hours. I have so much to say, but we'll go to the next question. But I do want to say that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And listening to you both speak, the relationship issue is also how you both showed up in business, and how you both show up as friends, and how you both show up for your community. And so as I'm listening to you, it's not only if you have a challenging marriage, but Gina, what you said is really, it's how you decide to be. And are you grateful? Are you expecting things to show up for you? Are you in your decision of, yes, I'm making this happen? And that, I think, for me, for 50 women, that was the biggest lesson across all of you, that you had made a decision that you were going to choose you, and it was going to happen. And yes, you were scared. Yes, all these things could happen, but you were choosing you and stepping into something that you wanted to create. So let's take the next question. We have a ton of them. Question from Pua. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. But thank you for writing in. How do I get started on building my business? Two perfect experts right here. So I'll give that to both of you.
Danelle, go for it.
You want me to start? I love you. Where's our rosé when we need it, Gina? I should have flown in and hung with Gina today. Well, I mean, getting started, I mean, the question that you're asking, there's actually a lot behind that question. And I go, how do I get started? Well, you wake up tomorrow morning and you get started. I want you to, I want you to go, okay, when I decide to start a business, I decide to wake up differently, right? I decide to own who I am and my skill set. I decide to try new things. I decide to make a list of, if you know, it depends if you know what your business is or if you don't yet know what it is, right? So if you know what it is, then you probably have some plan. You probably have some beginning. I always pray people start with an expertise, right? That they decide, hey, I either have a skill set that I'm going to work on, or I'm going to learn the number one thing that I have to learn to start a business, which is sales. They have to learn how to sell because there's, and maybe I say that because that's how I started.
I love your story. Yeah.
I started selling other people's stuff. And so when I learned how to sell, it's a whole new business when you have to learn how to sell yourself, right?
The best quote from you is, the more I developed me, I could sell anything.
Yeah.
And your journey and your story through your interview, you kept saying yes, and I'm going to learn it. And you stepped through and your confidence grew and your business grew. You just kept saying yes and yes and yes. So keep going. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, this is great. I mean, it's kind of a broad question, right? I would, if you were sitting in front of me, I would ask you a few more questions so I could give you excellent advice. But I would say when you decide to start, you start. You wake up different. You wake up earlier than everybody else. You start controlling the habits in your life from, I had to stick to my rhythms and strategies. So I literally started by writing down gratitude every single day, by writing down 3 goals, by listening and learning 1 hour a day, taking one thing that I was going to implement and putting it in there, and writing down one thing that I needed to let go of, because we are kind of control freaks, just saying. Okay. So I call it gratitude, growth, goals, and grace. And I would write it down every single day, and I would start focusing on just this one goal. And I have a little system that does it. But that's where I began, right? So it's, if I were to break it down basics, and I would say, okay, there's 3 things you have to do to run a business. Become a product of your product, believe in what you sell it, and find other people who are going to sell it with you, right? Mm-hmm. Do so well that they'll sell it with you. If you do those 3 things every single day, you have a business. You live and breathe your product, whether it's something for your health or something that you sell or coaching or whatever it is that you are, you become a product of your product. Then you sell your product, and you do such a good job with customer service and how you do things and what it does. You have other mouths that start selling it for you, and that is a business. And so, I mean, that's the breakdown, but there are so many rhythms that grew me into a human who would wake up differently, be a firecracker, and just take on life and say, I'm winning no matter what. I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to figure it out. And I think so many people get stuck going, well, I need a brand and a logo and a thing. And I go, well, mine's changed 1,900 times and nobody ever cares. So I'm going to tell you, you don't need any of that. That comes with excellence and learning and skill set and mentorship. And if you don't know where to start, see someone who is doing it incredibly, grab hold of them, pay them everything you've got, and learn how to do it the best as humanly possible. Like, reach as high as you can to the person who does it very, very best that you can afford, and go get it and let them show you where to start. That was like 3 answers for 17 questions.
Dana,
I want to say yes, 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 yes.
I'll pick up where Danelle left off. So Danelle's way more self-directed and self-motivated than I am. So I'd start where she left off, hire someone, be coachable, and take imperfect action. Like, I am all about the mentoring. Like, show me what to do, tell me what to do. I to this day will not work out. Danelle knows I will not work out unless I have a personal trainer waiting for me. What does not ever happen. So I need that level of support and accountability.
Yeah, that brings up a great point, though.
Yeah.
You know yourself in all the other areas of your life. So what you don't like in the other areas, like, watch it, because it's coming into your business area too. So if you need support, you get it. If you do it yourself, do it yourself. If like, trust your instincts, man, on that.
Yes. And the other thing that changed my life, meeting all of you, make sure you have a really great support system of women that you can call when you are down and you are doubting yourself, that you can call and have them walk you through, like, listen, get up and do it again tomorrow. You've got this, like, you've got this. And that, as a community, I think we're doing more and more, and it's how we women operate. We want to connect and do it together. So all of it.
Yeah.
Ready for the next one? This hour is going way too fast, you guys. What are some tips you do when you get stuck and stop saying yes to everything? What are some tips you do when you get stuck and stop saying yes to everything? Like, it sounds like she's just stuck, and either she's saying yes to too many things or she can't say yes to anything.
Got it.
I'm
So
gonna throw it to Gina.
I write about this in my book. A queen lets her yes be yes and her no be no. And women have been taught to say no when they want to say yes, and yes when they want to say no. I'm just gotten to a point in my life where I'm not willing to work that hard. So I'm very focused. And I focus on pretty much one thing, and then I work backwards. And if something comes in that is not going to move me forward in the one thing that I am looking to get the result in, it is a no. And it's an unapologetic no. It's a compassionate no. It's an understanding no, but it's a straight up no. I'm very streamlined. I don't have any sticky notes. I don't have any to-do lists. Like, if something comes in, it goes in my calendar. And if it doesn't fit in the calendar, then it doesn't happen. So I would say, this is the surface level. The underlying root of a woman saying yes to everything is being scattered. And the only reason why a woman is scattered is because she's afraid to be herself and to commit to what her truth is. And most likely doesn't even know what it is, because only 1 in 100 people, the statistics say, even know what they want. And women haven't been asked, what do you want? Women are taking care of kids and making the money and paying the bill. It's like, it's all this busyness, but busy is boring, and the world is not going to be saved by a busy woman. That's for sure. So I would say, probably do for yourself what wasn't modeled to you, to prioritize you, and ask yourself, what do you want? And get great at making a decision. Pick one thing. Like, I don't know isn't a queenly response. Well, I want this and that and this and that and this and that. I didn't say you can't go back to the well. I'm saying, know yourself enough, like what Danelle was just talking about, to pick one thing and get that result, and then pick the next thing and get that result and pick the next thing, and make the decision to prioritize. Danelle and I have like a ton of awesome opportunities just flooding in right now, and we're making the decision, okay, we're going to do this, and then we'll accomplish that, and then we'll accomplish that. And it's not saying yes and spreading ourselves too thin, because we're obsessed with results.
Oh my goodness, I just love her more every day.
I know, you guys are goodness. Oh, it's so fun.
It's so fun. I'm going to add just one tiny thing to her genius. And I am going to encourage all of you women to be so careful of your words, and try saying that sentence again without using the word stuck. and start doing it towards a solution. I think most people tend to talk about their problems more than they talk about solutions. And so I would say, never say I'm stuck, I'm overwhelmed, I'm whatever, because that just immediately makes your body go, you're right, I am. Oh, right. And I would say, my kids know this. Even my daughter got in trouble at school for correcting her teacher for this, because she said, I can't do that for you. And my child said, can you try asking yourself, how can I? And I was like, oops. She's like, my mom doesn't allow us to say I can't. And I was like, oh, no, parent win. But I think we sometimes get frustrated, and out of our mouth flows things that we would never wish on anyone, right? What you do to the least of these, you do to me, and what you do to yourself is also me. And so I want you to live in this world where you don't speak death over yourself, you speak life, and you say, rather than I'm stuck, I need help. Who can I go to, right? When I reach out to my mentors, I go, here's the challenge, not the problem. Here's the challenge. Here's the 3 things I think that would fix it. Which one is best? And they'll say, none, do this one, or the first one. And that's it. I can't even imagine calling my mentor and complaining, right? And so I just want to challenge you. It's not I'm overwhelmed. It's not I'm stuck. It's this is opportunity. This is life. This is my chance. I mean, I think about my entire career was built on everybody saying, I can't, I'm stuck, and me like, well, I'm going to find a way. Well, somebody did it, so I'm going to figure it out. It might be ugly, but I'll figure it out. So I just challenge you, because I have felt that I just want to cry and crawl in a corner feeling. And I was like, just kindly, softly start writing down solutions. If you were to write down 3 problems you could solve every single day for 30 days, you'd have 90, I'm not excellent at math, but I like money. So understand, you'd have like 90 solutions, and there'd be a multi-million-dollar idea in there. Just take 30 days to never use that word again and start writing solutions. That is all.
And you just triggered me on so many levels. I think with some of the questions coming in, I'm having an instinct to say this to women. We don't trust ourselves. We have this idea in our gut. I had an idea in my gut for 15 years and I didn't trust my gut. And it's this voice is coming to you for a reason. When you meditate, when you clear your mind, when you're feeling your power and that voice comes in, that's when you listen. But then you have to really listen and you have to take action. And I think as women, we need to trust those voices, because they're there for you to act on them. So you probably have 5 business ideas or one amazing one that you already know what to step into. You already know what that next step. Oh, that reminds me of Allison Prince saying, God showed her only that little next step because that's all she could handle. She could do one step at a time. And so those things that are coming to you, they're sent to you for you to step into them. So trust those things. And it's just exciting to see both of you living that. So then trust the women before you. Look at these women did it. And so trust that it works.
Don't you think, don't you think that women somehow are inherently accurate with their instincts? Like, we know, like, I know when my kid says something and I'm like, right? I know when I see a human and I'm like, red flag. It's accurate. I don't think I've ever had a red flag be inaccurate. I don't know why sometimes women are like, well, I'm going to wait for the 17th flag to make sure my instinct's correct. And I'm like, you like the beat down? Your instincts are correct. And that's it. Like, what if we learned to listen to it? And every time we're like, oh, right, oh, left, oh, yes, right? If we just moved faster, we'd never feed our fears. Like, never feed them with time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. How do you stay, this is perfect segue into how do you stay focused on your goals to expand and grow when a family member has health issues? And family comes first, but you also have to be at your best too. And let's expand this to, we as women, we have a lot to do. We have kids, we have friends, we have family members who are sick. We have, husband, we have a lot. So how do we manage our time in the right way when everything's pulling at you?
Well, I believe a queen follows a no excuses policy. And in that, it's almost easy to create the excuse, I can't because for whatever it is. I mean, Danelle's a single mom. I came out with a podcast this week about a whole addiction dynamic that's in my family that blew up on Father's Day. My dad was just in the hospital. Like, I think that everyone has stuff going on, and we could all find we all have family dynamics, whether there's an illness or something else, and there's always a reason to not show up for yourself. Or you could create certain boundaries that prioritize you, because there isn't anything that's coming into your life that's more important than your destiny and you fulfilling that. And there's also a lot of hours in a day. I was able to take care of myself, work out, deal with an addiction issue, medical issues, and have a great dinner with Glenn. So it's like, I think that there's a way for us to do it all, but only when we prioritize our well-being first.
Mm-hmm.
And let ourselves spin out into the worry, the fear, the busy, stay focused and present, and you're right.
I spent a lot of years doing that because of these dynamics. When you heal your codependency, and I spent years waking up wondering if a particular family member was alive or what was going on, or and all of the stress and the spin. And when you do the work on yourself, you really start to get, there's a lot of stuff that's just none of your business. Mm-hmm. And the amount of significance that we, and I just say this as a, former and recovering codependent, the amount of significance I got from playing the savior and being the hero and fixing everybody else's stuff was a lot. And it also made me invisible to my truth and to my calling. And it took me many years to reclaim who I really am. And that included saying no, setting boundaries, and being more interested in what my divine assignment was, which I used to think it was saving everyone else and taking care of everyone else. And now I'm much more in tune of, do I just not answer that text? Do I not pick up that phone call? Or do I pick it up later once I've handled the other things? And so there's a real generosity in self-prioritizing that I think many of us haven't been taught.
Mm-hmm. And I think exactly that is also creating an outlet for yourself, right? If you just keep piling things on, well, then you're carrying the world on your shoulders. And so I kind of am like, add one, release one, right? I call it open loop, close loop. But what, people think I need self-care, and they think it's a weekend at the spa or these really big, massive things. And I go, you know what self-care is sometimes? I walk out to the garage and I punch the hanging punching bag and I go, that's all I needed. And I walk back inside. Or I go jump in the pool, or I go hike a mountain when it's really rough. People always know, when I'm up hiking in the mountains, they're like, you good? I'm like, I will be. Give me just a minute, right? But you have to have tools. And I think humans have created this tool that they need to hang with their girlfriends and complain it all out, so that I just need to get it off my chest. Well, who taught you that? Because the worst thing you do is you bring everyone else into your pit, and then you all just complain about it. And then by the end, you're like, you're right. I totally hate that person. This is overwhelming. When all they did was one little thing, right? And there are outlets of great people to talk to who help you focus on solutions, or athletic activity, physical activity, or hot yoga, where you just sit there. I went to hot yoga one time, sat there, and they're like, would you like to participate? And I was like, I am. I'm sweating and crying. That's all I need to do. So just leave me alone. And they were like, well, we just want to make sure you're served. I'm being served. And if you come over here again, I'm going to hug you in this sweaty ball of a mess. And I literally went to hot yoga and just sat and cried. And I was like, I've released so much, so many toxins, and probably 7 pounds. And this was incredible. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. So I think people just forget that we're we are these incredible beings who can birth children, which should blow your mind. So if you don't think we can carry the whole world and also take care of ourselves, like seriously, I have a chair in my closet because sometimes I need a timeout and I just sit, and the kids know when the door's closed, give mom a minute. Like it's when tragedy happens, all it does is show you where your weaknesses are. And so fill the holes, correct where you got lazy on your time and your calendar, and understand that you've been blessed with people to love and care for. Some people don't have family to care for. Some people have no one. And so when most people complain, I'm a survivor. I have a crazy family and background, and it's really just me and my three. And when people complain about their family, I'm like, thank God you have one. So I want you to just start maybe calling your hard times your blessings and see how things look differently.
Wow. I'm always blown away by how perfect the messages are when we need to hear them. And I appreciate both of you so much. You are inspiring, and it's like, so here's what I'm going to say. So the hour is almost up, and I have taken this many notes, and when I watched, so Danelle, I went back and rewatched our interview. I had this many notes and more. Gina, this is what I want to say. If you're craving connection, if you're craving mentorship, listen to these women over and over, get in their communities, like just keep these voices in your head. It's so special. Just keep this going, because we all have times where we need to listen to it. We all have times when we need support. I shared this both with you. I am a different woman from listening to you from the beginning to the end. Everything has changed in my life. Everything about me has changed. And that's just one time. So the second time around, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much here. So I will say we have a half price off for 48 hours to listen to these women. And this recording is very special and one of my favorites too. So we're going to have to do more of these, because the how we are on all of us together, that's what I want to keep the continuing going of us sharing. And so please, if you want to be a part of this community, if you want to be part of this series, you have 48 hours. I think the link is on the page below, and just join us. And so I think we have 15 minutes more. I kind of don't want to ask any more questions. I would love to see what you guys think women need to hear now, what you're up to, what's the next thing, what you want to share, what you feel called to kind of discuss.
Everything. No. I mean, one thing that is just off the top of my head, I just want to encourage everyone who had this series to know that it's just like reading Think and Grow Rich. I read it once a year, and every year I read it, it's something totally different because I'm different, right? I read Gina's book right when it came out. I got a hand-signed copy from this genius. I just started to read it again, and I'm like, how did I miss that?
I know.
I missed that whole, did you add a section? She's like, no, I didn't add a section, right? And I was like, what was I doing? This series, you're going to need it 2 months from now. Mm-hmm. When you've been pushing and you can't remember why you got started, and you just need to hear 50 stories again, right? You're going to need it 6 months from now when you're like, oh man, what did they say when family tragedy happens? How do I handle all this? You're going to need it when somebody's like, how do I get started? Those kinds of things. But the greatest thing in the world it gave me was community. I'll be very transparent and tell you, I had gotten to my point over the last couple of years where I was like, is there anybody else who actually wants to live their morals and their values, who wants to go out there and help other people like I do, who won't watch out for themselves first, but actually care? And I was like on this moment of, fine, I'm just going to do this alone and be like, great, amazing, just serve as many as I can until I just pass out on the road, right? And God dropped Gina into my life. Like, we crossed each other so many times, and she finally just shot a message and was like, I think we need to have a conversation. And I was like, what? Yes, now. And I just want everybody watching to go, listen, there are more of you. There are more greater than you. Gina was that greater than me human that I just needed, right? And then she introduced me to Christy, and then I was like, Christy, you need to know so-and-so, and you need to know Elena, and you, right? And we just kind of started this cohort. The series is more than you think it is. And so whatever you do, keep it close to you, because I bought it all. I think I bought it for several other people too. I don't even know that I have to buy it, but I bought it.
You get it for free, and she.
I bought it because I'm gonna need it.
Yeah.
Because there were stories that were right at the right moment, and so I know you guys don't need to know that. I'm just telling you, when you get introduced to something that feels like this, that's your instinct, and it's correct. Okay, that's just what I had on my heart. Like, please don't think that, oh my gosh, I watched it once and it's amazing. It's like, you know, Jerry Maguire, you're just going to watch it 100 times. That little kid's still cute, and who's coming with me? Like, that's the story of an entrepreneur. It'll always be cool. Okay.
And this is why I love you so much. I mean, all levels of yes, yeah, you just feel her heart and soul pouring into you. I think the thing that's coming up for me right now, if you're watching The Millionaire Within Her, first of all, I know it's very humbling for me, and I'm sure Danelle, to even be here, because we didn't grow up with millionaires, and we didn't know what this world was. And the first time I heard someone say anyone can become a millionaire in 3 years was mind-boggling to me. If you haven't watched my segment, my parents were school teachers, so we weren't rich, we weren't poor. But it was like we always lived paycheck to paycheck. I didn't know that people lived any other way except maybe those people on TV or something like that. And I struggled financially so long that it became my life's mission once I was able to transform my money story, because to empower as many other women to transform theirs. Because if Gina from Detroit, who didn't know anything about making money, was $75,000 in debt and was letting every day of her life be robbed, like the riches of her life be robbed because of lack of money, I did it for 12 years, and I just didn't know there was another option. I just kept hoping that one day my life would get better. And if you haven't gotten yourself to a place of financial relaxation, I just want you to know, as far-fetched as this may sound, I'm talking about, I had no money one weekend. I ate protein shakes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 days because that was how long it was going to take for me to get money to be able to go to the grocery store. So this would have sounded so crazy to me, but financial relaxation is available for everyone. It's actually our birthright. We came here to live a life of abundance in every area of our life. And that's why I've dedicated my life to helping women transform their money story, because I know those are 12 years of my life I will never get back. And you become so self-obsessed because you're in survive mode. And I just want you to know that by getting this series and watching it over and over, like Christy and Danelle are saying, and gleaning what you need for your next step, and then that next step will come, and the next step will come, you'll see that, or this, what everybody discovers who makes money is, it's actually pretty easy to do. It's just the psychology and the blocks of what we've built up. It's this thing that we can't have, or whatever our triggers are about it, or we're bad people if we have it, or money doesn't buy happiness. Yes, it does. It's all it does. It doesn't buy all happiness, but the only thing money does is buy happiness. And when we're in a happy place, that's when we can be fully self-expressed, not when we're struggling, not when we're in survive mode. So I want you to get this series because it's going to reveal to you who you really are. You're going to see yourself in every story. You're going to witness transformation in your own life. You're going to be manifesting what you've seen other women manifest because it's meant for you also. We're not at all special, and I know a whole bunch of them. And we're all totally awesome because we're all humans, and every human deserves to thrive. And that's what I know, being around these women, following us on Instagram, buying the series, watching them over and over and getting it so deep inside of you, you will not be the same. You will change your consciousness, and you change your thoughts, you change your reality.
Yes.
Yes, you both. And as we close, Gina, I've been feeling like I want to know more, maybe do a closing intention. I want to know more how abundance loves us. Like, I keep battling money beliefs and things that I've been taught about if I get something that someone else doesn't, or if whatever it is, but I've been
breathe in more air. Does someone else not get more air?
Exactly. And so just lead us through something that can just open us up to how God, source, universe, our abundance. And when we step up and share our gifts and our greatest, everything that is inside of us, it surrounds us with others who get lifted up. And so that's why I've been seeing abundance. The more abundance we have in love, in giving, in service, in friends, in family, in health, the more we inspire the world. And so maybe that's what all these religions and gurus have been talking about, that when women step into that, we do it as a community. We bring us all up. So please, would you lead us into something to close us out?
Something. Absolutely.
Yeah,
My great pleasure and honor. I think let's just close our eyes and be grounded in our bodies. And as we're grounded in our bodies individually, let us be connected to all of the thousands and thousands of women worldwide who have been part of this series, who've been part of this community, who have been part of the craving for total transformation, for the ultimate up level, and the fulfillment of each woman's destiny. And as we feel ourselves connected to ourself, our breath, our bodies, our own hopes and dreams, may we now breathe into the magnitude of being connected with the thousands of women who have the same hopes and dreams. A better life, greater expansion, more self-expression, total abundance. And as we feel ourselves connected in this expansive community, let us now also, all of us, connect to the infinite, connect to source. And feeling the unlimited nature of the universe and God's loving power. May we be reminded of truth, that all things are possible, that it is possible for all humans to thrive, to experience abundance in every way. In truth, there is no lack. In light, there is no darkness. To the degree that any of us have fallen prey to believe in lack, may our thinking be restored to truth in this moment. Let us remember who we are, that we are connected to infinite intelligence and infinite abundance. And in this moment, we open up to all possibility and opportunity that is specifically meant to come our way, so that we may be seen, heard, fully self-expressed, so that we may contribute at the highest level in the way that each of us individually and collectively are meant to. And may we all powerfully fulfill our destinies. We pray this believing. Amen.
Wow. Thank you both for being here, for sharing, for, as you said at the top, Danelle, for giving exactly what we're hoping everyone needed tonight. Join us, join the movement, join the Millionaire Within Her community, thousands of women. And based on tonight, I think we're going to find a way to do more of these. They're very special. Thank you both for being here. If you haven't, it's half off right now for 48 hours. So go on, grab these women, listen to them over and over and over again. So thank you both so much for your hearts, for what you do, for how you serve, and how you show up, really.
Thank you for having us. We love this movement and this tribe.
Love it. Now let's
Thank you.
go out with girlfriend dance party. Like, yay!
Right.
You guys. Yes.
Christy, the honor is ours, and everyone here, thank you so much for being here and showing up for yourselves.